Our circumstances don't define us. Our actions do. We all have moments of impact. What are you going to do with yours? Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Living the Sweet Life. I'm your host, TJ Sweet. And on this podcast, we are committed to helping you go from where you are to where you want to be. And we talk about everything in life. We talk about some of the things that feel good, some of the things we need to own to get to where we want to be. But all of it is for you. It's not meant to call you out. It's meant to call you up. These are all my own personal experiences. I've learned from a lot of great leaders and speakers and influential people, and we all share similar human behaviors and traits and habits and mindsets and vulnerability. And that's what we're bringing here on this podcast. I'm going to meet you where you are. Some of you may need to hear this episode more than others, but we all need to hear it at some point. And I have so many of you reaching out to me that subscribe to the podcast, whether you're watching on YouTube or you're on iTunes or Spotify. And you subscribing, one, helps us continue to do this show the way that we're doing it, but it also continues to grow the audience so that more and more people all over the world, we're in 47 different countries, I think 48 countries now actually, all over the world. And it's because of you. It's because you've been tuning in week after week, every Mindset Monday, and we're committed to making this a meaningful 20 to 30 minutes for you, whether we bring on a guest, whether you just hear me talk about a topic, we're committed to you. So first I want to say thank you. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that. Again, that tremendously helps our show. And the comments I've been getting have been great as well. So just know that every one of those mean a lot to me. And you're part of this journey with me. My goal is always to talk with all of you and not at any of you. I had a great friend of mine say that to me a long time ago, and it stuck with me forever because it's about being with each other and building connection. And that's what we're here to do. So I'm going to be talking about a topic today that may sting for a little, for a few of you. And it may also then maybe be that thing that kind of shakes you and wakes you. And we're going to talk a lot today about choosing discipline over motivation. Because we've all been in those situations to where we've said we wanted something. We've set the goal. And even based on last week, we focused on progress over perfection. But what happens when the motivation that we start with when we say that we want something, when the motivation isn't as high as it is in that moment? Now, before I get too far into this episode, I will say when you're motivated, stay focused. Don't get on cruise control. Don't take it lightly. Be bold, be courageous when you feel that intense motivation to accomplish something. Set the goals, set the habits, take bold action, focus on consistency over intensity. You'll probably hear me say that a few times today. But what we're going to talk about today is maybe that thing that you need to reflect on and realize that can be the one catalyst to help you go to where you want to be. And it doesn't take much more than a reframe or a shift of mindset. So as we work through multiple examples of motivation versus discipline, I want to encourage you to not just get stuck in a loop of waiting for motivation. Motivation is something that when we think about something that we want and we get excited about having it, we don't often take enough time to be excited about doing the work required, but we also don't have a plan on the days that we don't feel that same motivation. I've been on stages all over the United States. I've been coaching very successful people. And I will tell you, we all have ebbs and flows of motivation. We can choose to stay consistent with discipline and purpose and gratitude and connection. We can choose to stay there. But what oftentimes I hear from clients is they see other people who always seem motivated. And I will tell you, that's not true. You'll probably hear me say that a couple of times today too. All the successful people I've ever met have days they don't want to do the things they said they're going to do. So maybe you reshift your mindset of maybe you aren't weak. You aren't a procrastinator. You aren't somebody who doesn't commit to their goals. You aren't somebody who can't achieve what they want. Maybe you're somebody who just thinks that once you start, it's easy to keep going once you have enough motivation. But I hear a lot of people say, I'm not disciplined. Well, you have a habit of not being disciplined. That's just truth. That's not reframing it into a positive. You need to develop the habit. But when you say I am, and we're going to talk about an affirmation here a little bit, but when you say I am something, your brain learns that that's how you're identifying yourself. So be careful on the words you're using. We've talked about that too. If you really want to stay motivated, you have to get in this headspace of constant daily reminders about why you got started, about why it matters that you don't stop, because that's really how you go from where you are to where you want to be. And if you get to where you want to be and you do it too fast and you just focus on the outcome, it's really hard to sustain it. So I'm sure some of you have maybe started a bunch of different things, but you never finished it. And then now you're kind of questioning whether or not you can start it, whether it's weight loss or starting a business or, something in your relationship or something in your career, whatever it is. We've all started things, but we didn't finish them. But what we didn't recognize is our brain's learning we are somebody who starts and doesn't finish. So whenever you get excited about starting again, there's something in the back of your mind that creeps in. It's like, yeah, but I've done this a bunch of times and I don't know that I'm ever going to commit to it. A simple example of this is New Year's resolutions are coming up. Everybody has probably, myself included, said I wanted something in January, but I didn't stick to it throughout the year. It's because I wasn't prepared for the days I didn't feel like it. Life is going to happen and goals can change, but our decisions and our commitment is up to us. But I will simply say, whenever you set a goal for yourself or say that you want something, motivation isn't the answer. You can listen to all the motivational clips and all the motivational videos. You can listen to these podcasts. And when you listen to these, I'm hoping you feel inspired and encouraged and capable and strong and significant. But what you do after the episode ends, or what you do after you stop listening to the motivational videos and motivational speakers, that's really where your success is going to either happen or it's going to stall out. But motivation it's unreliable because it comes and goes. It's very based on emotion, right? And so if you're waiting to feel like doing something before you do it, you may not ever actually do the thing. We have to move beyond our feelings. We have to be rooted in thoughts, decisions, habits, and behaviors, but we have to move beyond our feelings. When the feelings are high, ride it, do it, be convicted, make all the plans, do all the things. But when your feelings aren't in alignment with what you say you want, that's where you have to be kind of outside of yourself and then hold yourself accountable. But the way to do that, to move beyond motivation and like the things you should be relying on, is discipline, systems, and identity. Now, when we get to the three things that I leave you with that you can start doing right away, it's discipline, systems, and identity. Discipline, systems, and identity. So we're going to dive into habits, right? We've talked about habits before. We're going to dive into habits a little bit more here because I want to rethink about motivation and habits and going from hype to habits and positivity to presence. We all have a choice to make that shift to think about the same thing differently. So in an analogy perspective, if motivation is the spark, right? Like the initial thing, the thing that gets you off the couch. Motivation is the spark, but discipline, consistent choices, is the engine. It's the thing that actually keeps you going. It's the thing that actually moves you forward. It's if you don't build a life you love, you can't live that life without being inspired. Like building a life that you are excited about, and you have to be inspired by that, right? So motivation's a great starting point. Inspiration's a great starting point. But you really build it by deciding who you want to become and how you want to impact the people around you. Notice I said deciding. I didn't say wanting. Who do you want to become, and who do you want to, or how do you want to impact people around you? It's not enough. Deciding who you are becoming and how you're going to impact the people in your life. Not what you want, but what you're going to do. And then you have to act like that person consistently. That's the habits, that's the discipline piece. But when you recognize inside of yourself, we've all had those moments when you make a decision and there's no going back. There's a big gap between that decision with conviction and saying that you want something and being motivated on a Friday afternoon to go do it. When all the conditions are perfect, then you feel excited. That is motivation. When you are excited about doing the work because you know who you're becoming, you know who you already are, and you know how you want to impact the lives of people around you, that is discipline. But the gap between knowing better and doing better is purpose. So all of those things we say that we want, we often don't lack the information on how to do it. In an age of information that we're in right now, we're all seeking wisdom. That's what I hope you're here for. Wisdom, not just information. Give yourself more credit that you know more than you think you do, but you're not doing more than you can or more than you should be because there's not purpose in the middle of that. And sometimes the purpose is a decision that you make with conviction. Who are you becoming, and how are you going to impact the people in your life when you commit to the habits? When you say that you get to do the things instead of have to do the things, your brain will learn it's actually energy giving to be disciplined. When you feel like you have to do it and it's a sacrifice and you feel like you'd rather be doing other things, your brain will continue to fight you to keep you where you are. We fall into this middle space to where we say we want something. We maybe even tell a couple people about it, but we don't have a plan to do the things required to get what we want, to be where we want to be, to have the money we want, the relationship we want, the life we want. We don't have a plan for that. And this is that middle space to where you lose confidence in yourself to ever get to where you want to be. Discipline is the path to freedom, and it actually makes things easier. People think about discipline as this negative word of holding back and not doing anything that you enjoy and all the things. That is a negative perception of discipline. I would say the discipline is choosing what you want now versus what you want the most, right? You have to choose that. So if you say that you want something the most, but you choose something now that doesn't align with that, that's just you have to decide on whether or not you want to be disciplined in that moment to choose what you say that you want the most. Sometimes it's not going to be what you want to do right now. When it's 5 a.m. and you've decided that you're going to wake up and run or exercise or stretch or do something fitness related, you're going to eat breakfast, you're going to spend some time reading, meditating, you're going to cold plunge, whatever the thing is. And when that hour comes, when you say that you're going to do the thing, that you may say, I want to stay in bed. But if you actually say the thing I want the most is a healthier lifestyle, I want to lose the weight, I want to feel better, I want to be stronger, I want to be more flexible, whatever the thing is, you want to be able to thrive in your career. You have to have that moment of pause and self-reflection and self-awareness. What do I want now versus what do I want the most? And only you can hold yourself accountable to that level. Because don't fall into this, nobody will know I didn't do it, because the most important person on your journey, the most influential person on your journey is you and your relationship with yourself. So keep more promises to yourself. Say you're going to do something. And then even if you don't feel like it, be disciplined enough to do it. That is the recipe to every successful thing you want to do. We're only 14 minutes in. I could stop now, but we're going to keep going because I have more stuff I want to share with you. And I want to dive into motivation a little bit as well. So this is personal experience too. So motivation is a feeling that something can be different, and we want the thing to be different, and we get excited about how it's going to feel at the end of it. But we think about how it's going to feel when we have it. And I'm sure we've all, had these days to where everything feels easy to stay disciplined. You get up, you wake up in the morning, you feel great, you go to the gym, you do your thing. Maybe you read the book. Maybe you're, in your career, you're doing really well on a project, or maybe you crush it on a meeting that you're on, or, whatever the thing is. Or sometimes relationships feel easy. But that's the feeling of being in alignment with who you are and doing what you say you're going to do. That's why it's so easy. You're not fighting yourself. But on those days when it's hard, you're fighting what you say that you want. So you're actually opposing yourself. Nobody else is going to do that for you. And so motivation and hope and it's a start, hoping that something can be different, hoping that something will be different. But if you just rely on hope or just rely on motivation, you're going to stop more often than not right where you are. And you're going to settle into this loop of doubt and stagnation. If you're in this loop of, I hear you, I've started a bunch of things, but I never commit to them, stay tuned. We're going to go further into that. So when I talk about motivation being temporary, it doesn't mean that it's every once in a while. It just means it's not all the time, which just sounds like a simple way to say temporary, but it's unreliable in the sense that it's rooted as an emotion, not really a plan. Motivation is like, getting up off the couch, but the discipline is putting your shoes on and going for the walk. Or maybe motivation is waking up on time and the discipline is deciding to actually get out of your bed, right? There's two different things that are required there. But you have to make these decisions with conviction, not just emotion. This idea of making a decision of conviction with conviction is so powerful. It's like taking power back and saying no more. Like enough is enough. I'm tired of saying I'm going to do something and never actually doing it. That's between you and you, because the people in your life think about you less often than you think. And you setting your own goal and you accomplishing your goal may or may not mean as much as it does to the people around you, but the people around you are going to love you no matter what. And that's a great thing. Oftentimes we think people are going to accept us more if we accomplish our goals, but it's really about you accepting yourself, whether you do or you don't, not about other people. But you can't rely on motivation showing up every morning. It's not going to happen. Life is going to happen. And you can't wait for it to just magically show back up. The amount of people I've talked to on a Saturday that say, I'll start my diet on Monday, they're a perfect person to be listening to this show, because we just think, well, I'll be motivated on Monday. I'll be motivated on New Year's. I talked to somebody yesterday that said they're not going to set any goals till the new year. Just give them back time. That's fine. I think sometimes we need to own that maybe I don't really want the thing. I feel like I should want the thing, so I'm going to say I want the thing, but I'm not actually going to do the thing. I'm going to read about it and tell everybody I'm doing it, but I'm never going to actually do it. And one thing I've had to learn through some of this in my own life is when you tell people that you're going to do something, the brain thinks you've already done it. So it gets the reward. You go tell people, I'm going to start my own business. And everybody says, oh my gosh, that's amazing. You're going to be so great at it. You're going to be incredible. The brain's just like dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin. But you didn't actually do anything. You just said you wanted something. So we're going to have to take over the brain and go like, whoa, we're not there yet. We want that motivation to be high when we tell people, but we have to then take the next steps to actually go do the thing. And this is something that I hope for you, because when I started to recognize this, the gap between you and the most successful people is not as big as you think. Successful people aren't always motivated. We're not always disciplined even, but we're consistent because we know why consistency matters. And we've made a plan for the days that we don't want to. We've made a plan for owning when we don't want to and holding ourselves accountable. You can do that through love. Or you can do that through whatever words you need to get up, do the thing, commit to doing the thing, make the plan to doing the thing, because consistency over intensity will win every single time. So stop chasing the motivation and start building the momentum through being disciplined. Momentum is consistent behaviors, habits, thoughts, and affirmations. So the second thing I want to dive into is building systems. As you've heard me say this probably 15 times already in the first 20 minutes here, systems and processes and habits is the reason why you will or won't accomplish what you want. Not your motivation, not your capabilities. It's your willingness to commit to the process that you want to be, that you need to follow to get where you want to be. So your systems, they should work on autopilot. And by that, I mean, they always work. You always work your systems. Even on days you don't feel like it, you still do it anyway. And oftentimes I hear people all the times, especially when it comes to reading or fitness or whatever, they're like, I'll do it tomorrow. I don't feel good today. And then it's been 2 weeks and they never got back on it. Or maybe they say, you know what, on the days that I didn't want to do it is when I recognize the most about myself. Because when you don't feel like doing the thing, but you tell your brain, we are doing it anyway, your brain learns that it doesn't have an option to not follow through with everything. Our brain doesn't have the capability to recognize, like, I'm a disciplined person in this part of my life, but I'm not in another part of your life. When you're not disciplined, it's typically in every area, most of the time, if we're being honest about it. Now, you could be more disciplined than in some areas than others, but typically there's a lack of discipline in every area if we aren't willing to own that. So a simple, right? Again, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. Fall to the level of our systems means it doesn't matter how much we say we want something. If we don't actually commit to doing the work, we'll never actually accomplish the goal. We're just going to fall to the level of the work and effort that we put forth. So a couple quick examples of what some of this means around systems. Putting your workout clothes out, maybe your shoes, everything out the night before so you can wake up and not have anything to think about, nothing to slow you down. That is a system. Calendar reminders that trigger habits. Like, I've learned that I have to write things down. But whenever I commit to writing things down, I'm committing to doing the thing and becoming somebody who commits to doing the thing, even when he's maybe I'm not relying on my memory. But when you have calendar reminders and triggers, that is a system. Maybe you have accountability partners to check on you. That is a system. Call one of your best friends and say, I'm doing this thing and here's how I need you to show up for me. I need you to hold me accountable. I need you to send me the text message. I need you to check on me, have me send you my log of all my habits I've done, whatever the thing is. Oftentimes we all have habits of something we want to do in our lives. So this is a great way to build a connection with somebody a little deeper as well. Because whenever we go through hard things together, we grow with empathy and more connection with others. But these are decisions that you make in advance that it doesn't go to a vote. You make a decision and you do it. Not, I'll do it on Monday or I'll do it on Tuesday. It's, I'm making a decision to do these things because that's who I am. That's a little teaser into what the next point is. But discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. Discipline is deciding and convicting yourself to do what is required even when you don't feel like it. And that previous definition of discipline of doing what you want, doing it because of what you want the most, over in spite of what you say you want right now. And I'll say this, if you run into that decision, that definition of discipline of, well, the thing I want right now doesn't align with the thing I want the most, then think about the thing that you say that you want and maybe change the goal or own that you maybe don't want it as much as you say that you do. That's just reality. Free yourself from being a prisoner of your own words that you don't actually truthfully mean. Now, sometimes we can say that I mean the words, but maybe we don't believe in ourselves to actually do it. There's multiple ways to have discipline be the foundational building block over motivation. So then the last thing I want to talk a little bit about, I've alluded to it a few different times, is the words that we're using for ourselves will drastically change the way that we choose discipline over motivation. Goals are great. They're good for direction, right? It gives you some sort of sense of what you want. But identity is better for transformation. When you identify as someone who is or someone who's becoming something, that identity will drive your behaviors and your habits and your goals and your commitment and your discipline. It's just the way that our brain works. There's neuroplasticity where our brain can learn a bunch of new things, but it's always focusing on creating certainty. Maybe the certainty isn't comfort. Maybe the certainty is the habit. That's a choice you have to make. So here's a question I want you to slow down and just be with me here. I want you to think about, who do you want to be? How do you want to impact the people around you and in the people in your life? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to become? What kind of impact do you want to have? So that's the first part of this. The second thing I want you to do is build habits that prove that to yourself, whatever your answer was to that question. Who do I want to be? And then build habits that prove that to yourself every single day. Whether you say, I am a reader. So that means you read 1 page of a book per day. If it's, I'm a runner or I'm an exerciser, and you tie the shoes, you put the shoes out and you tie the shoes. Like, I am a runner, because that's what runners do. Or maybe you say, I'm a speaker, I'm a leader. And as a speaker, you build connections with others, you add value to others, and you practice your talks, your keynotes. You practice them. You work on your voice. You work on your inflection. You work on the things. Those are the habits. When you say, I want to be, it will shift to an I am. But it has to start with, who do you want to be? Don't rely on the hype of telling other people that you are the thing. Rely on the habits. Work quietly on your habits. Don't rely on the hype. Don't rely on how you feel as often. Rely on who you're becoming and keep the promise to yourself. Those I am statements are incredibly powerful. It actually helps us get out of our own way. Get out of our own way so that we can move some of these things out of the way that prevent us from being everything that we already are, while we strive for everything that we want to become. Now, here are my 3 things, like I give you at every one of these, at the end of these episodes, to really, hopefully the conviction and the motivation's high right now, like we've talked about, as you've just heard me say for 25 minutes, 30 minutes now. It's not enough. So what systems and habits can we do? So let me run through these 3 things. First thing is, set a 3-day discipline challenge. 3 days. It's going to come out on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. 3-day discipline challenge. Pick one identity aligned, the who you want to be, one identity aligned habit, and commit to it for 3 days. 3 days. Whether you feel like it or not. Show yourself what you can do with and without motivation. 3-day challenge. Pick a habit and do it. Second thing is, develop a very, very simple system. Remember the difference between simple and easy. Simple system is, what habit do you want to start that you just talked about, that we just learned about when you say, I want to become? What is one habit you want to start? Now ask yourself, how can you make it easier for you to do that, to commit to that habit? And then stack it onto something that you're already doing. And create a trigger that removes the uncertainty or the guesswork about that. So what is one habit you want to do? Do you want to wake up earlier? And then what? Because waking up is a start, but what are you doing after that? So create a simple system to where you say, how can I make it easier to wake up in the morning? And maybe it's not go to bed at 1 o'clock at night or 1 a.m. Maybe it's, how do you then create something in your favor so that the habit feels easier? Then, after you think about what is easier for you, stack it on top of another habit to create 2 little micro habits that then lead you closer to what you want. That's a simple system. And then the third thing is the affirmations. This is why the first book, Practice Gratitude, Find Joy, has 3 things you're grateful for, 2 things you appreciate about yourself, and an I am statement. I am statements are extremely powerful. If you don't believe me, you've been telling yourself an I am statement often, and that's why you haven't done what you said you're going to do. Your I am, I'm unable, I can't, I'm not strong enough, I'm not smart enough, I don't live in the right city. I am. You've been telling yourself a bunch of I am statements, but you didn't ever pay attention to how powerful they've become for you, because it becomes what you believe about yourself. So what I want you to do is I want you to write down one sentence that is simple, right? So I am the kind of person who. You have to finish that. I am the kind of person who. So I am the kind of person, an example for me is I'm the kind of person that moves every day, exercises every day. Some days it's walking, some days it's running, some days it's lifting, some days it's stretching, some days it's all those things. But when you write down a statement of I am the kind of person, I am this, you have to commit to that. Start there and read it every single day. Write it down. Write it down in your bathroom mirror, write it down on a piece of paper, type it in your phone, have it be the message, the label for your alarm on your phone. I am the kind of person who, or kind of person that, depends on whatever you're setting your thing to be. I am the kind of person who can change your life, because you will start aligning yourself to your true self, which is the person who can actually commit to the habits, even when you don't feel like it. So motivation is a great place to get started. It's a great place to get started. But identity and discipline and purpose are what carry you through all of the days, not just the beginning. So if you're tired of starting over, hear me now. If you're tired of starting over, you've made the decision. You have to make the decision to no longer stop. We've started over a bunch of different times, and the only reason why we had to start over is because we stopped in the first place. Nobody else did anything for us. We stopped in the first place, and people say, gosh, I'm so tired of doing this again, because you stopped. Don't let that happen this time. Maybe this is the time. Maybe this is the day. Maybe this is the week that you don't look back. Only you get to decide that. Nobody can hold you back. Nobody knows what you're capable of. Nobody knows what you want and where you want to be as much as you do. But if you're tired of starting over, own that, and then no longer allow yourself to stop. Don't wait to feel ready. Start becoming ready. Becoming somebody who holds more promises, keeps more promises to yourself, because you believe that you are disciplined, you are capable, you are strong, you are significant. How does somebody who is all of those things actually behave? Because that is how you can show up for yourself, and then therefore go from where you are to where you want to be. And as I wrap up here, I just want you to feel we're not waiting on motivation. We're not waiting on it to keep showing back up. We're going to embrace it when it's here, but we're going to rely on discipline. We don't wait here. On Living the Sweet Life and my team, we don't wait there. We begin. We begin because we know it matters. We begin because we know we're capable, because of what we're doing is important to us and important to the people that you love the most. So go choose discipline today. Don't wait for motivation. You may not even be feeling motivation today, but choose the discipline. Listen to those 3 things again that we talked about to help you get going: the discipline challenge, the simple system, and an identity statement. Own that, because only you can prevent you from going to where you want to be. And there's people around you that will embrace you no matter what, but you have to be willing to embrace yourself first and then get to work and stay disciplined, because you deserve to be the healthiest, happiest, wealthiest, most accomplished, most fulfilled, most grateful, most happy, most loved version of yourself. You deserve that. And the bridge to that is discipline, even when we don't feel like it. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet. And just know with every episode, every time you subscribe, every time you leave a comment, every time you like it, every time you rate it, it matters to me. So I appreciate you. And I hope you show up for yourself this week in a new way with more discipline and more commitment to who you are and who you're becoming.